Hello friends, I am Prashant. I welcome you to Educational Stuff. In this video, we will be discussing editorial analysis of today's newspaper. Today is 9th June 2020. The first article focuses upon the India and China border conflict, how the things are going on after the cordial talks. And second article is regarding selling the space, entering the private players into the space mission. And third article, which is regarding the afraid of monetization of deficit. Fourth article is regarding the decentralization of critical responses of the COVID-19. Before I get into the articles, if you are new to my channel, I am Prashant. Every day you will be seeing the editorials in this channel, analysis of editorials and vocabulary of the Hindu newspaper. And let's get started. This particular cartoon is the present scenario, how Amit Shah is giving a strong statements regarding his election campaign, how the things are going on. This is the continued part of actually I have done the India-China line of actual control, the border issue, and detailed analysis will be done, had already been done in the one of the video. I will give it in the thumbnail from the eye icon you can see, or from the description link. That is a continued part of India-China conflict. And before I would like to give a brief analysis. This blinking portion is the border line which shares the border between India and China. These are the border neighboring states which shares the border between India and China. Step by step, talks will not find an immediate resolution to be the line of actual control standoff, but a start has been made. With official talks getting under the way over the weekend, months-long standoff between the India and Chinese soldier along the line of actual control in Ladakh, Sikkim has entered a more considered phase. There were little expectations that the video conference on Friday held between External Affairs Minister officials in Delhi and their Ministry of Foreign Affairs counterpart in Beijing, and talks between Leh Kapoor and commanders with the South Xingpi military regional commander held in Chusla Moldo region in Chinese side of line of actual control on Saturday would bear fruit immediately. However, statements of both sides that the talk will continue indicate a desire to resolve the situation. The Ministry of External Affairs and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs have also reiterated their commitment to abide by the agreement between Prime Minister Modi and Chinese President Xi Jinping, who came after the last big standoff at Doklam in 2017, to not to allow differences to escalate in the disputes. During the Doklam incident, even after the meeting between the leaders on the sidelines of G20 summit, had taken several high-level engagement to ensure a drawdown for 73-day standoff. Given the differences between the situation, now the previous incidents, it would be naive to assume that the standoff can be resolved quickly through talks. The standoff is more than one location, including the finger areas of Songong So Lake, Galwan Valley and Gogra Post in Ladakh and Nakula Pass in Sikkim, and it requires a careful study to decide how to de-induct soldiers. Furthermore, a status quo ante will require the Chinese soldiers vacate areas where they have dug in for a few weeks now. Nothing short of their full withdrawal should satisfy India, which means that more than talks on the ground and by diplomats, there is a need for strong political direction from Beijing to PLA. The defense minister has said that Chinese troops arrive in heavy numbers, and therefore the government must also study what intelligence was received ahead of such movements and when action was taken. Finally, why has the standoff emerged on all after the intense summit level conversations in Wuhan and to discuss the building trust at the line of actual control? Given the government's silence on events thus further, it is likely it will put out the answers of this question publicly, but in any event they must be sought. This is particular regarding the talks will not find an immediate resolution of the LAC standoff, but a start has been made in step-by-step manner. Second article, which focuses upon the selling the space, entering the private players into the space sector. I have already done a video regarding ISRO is allowing private players into the, so you can see it from the description link or from the eye icon displayed right now on the screen. This particular article is regarding SpaceX mission carrying humans to space marks a new age in a commercial space flight. For the United States to send American astronauts to space from American soil after a gap of 9 years in a milestone. It's a milestone. That this took place at the time of one of the biggest civil rights upsurges since 1960, or make it almost like an escape fantasy riding on the wings of the public-private partnership between NASA and Elon Musk's SpaceX. The less expensive journey is clear financial advantage, as US have been paying the Russian $80 million to put one astronaut into space since they stopped NASA's human space launch program. Thus, SpaceX comes in to provide advantages in cost, innovations and safety. In 2000s, when Mr. Musk assured of its rockets and lobbied in Washington DC, he was mostly ignored, yet now NASA wants him to find customers for SpaceX flight. It can expand the power of US commerce exponentially. A Japanese billionaire Yukusa has already signed up the potential traveler on the moon on back with the partnership. Americans have taken yet another leap of faith in creating commerce in space. NASA has partially outsourced it with working innovation, testing the building new technology to market players such as SpaceX. It has already made clear its desire to invite more such innovative space companies to participate. India under Prime Minister Modi has also opened the space sector, including ISRO facilitate to private players. The emergence of a successful partnership here will likely depend on how well they will stand up as an example for American and allowing for failure. Fly, test, fail, fix have been the rubric followed by SpaceX. India had not witnessed such huge experiments in such except by the state-led ISRO. It is most recently celebrated one of the being the Mars Orbiter mission, which costs 7 rupees per kilometer, which is cheaper and then the auto rickshaw travel as cited by Modi himself. ISRO already has a competitive edge in the global market for space technology. The opening up of the space technology could harbor many an innovation of this kind. However, it calls for a high degree of accountability coupled with non-profiteering approach on the part of players. This particular article is regarding the selling SpaceX mission carrying the humans, and ISRO is allowing the private players into its. So the next article is regarding the Modi downfall. Who is afraid of monetization of deficit? As the government began to wrestle with the severe downturn caused by the novel coronavirus pandemic, some economic pundits urged the government to go out and spend without worrying about increase in the public debt. They said that the rating agencies would understand that these are the unusual times. If they do not choose to downgrade the India, we should not lose too much sleep over it. Rating the fundamentals. Well, the decision of rating agency Moody to downgrade from India from BA2 to BAA3 should come as a rude awakening. The present rating is just one notch above the junk category. Moody has also retained its negative outlook of India, which suggests that the further downgrade is more likely than an upgrade. The rationale given by Moody especially make people to sit up. The downgrade, Moody says, has not factored in economic impact of the pandemic. It had also to do with India's fundamental before the onset of pandemic and extended lockdown with which India responded. The message should be clear enough. Any further deterioration in fundamentals from now will push India to junk status. We should not lose sleep over the further downgrade and simply borrow out any way of trouble. Anybody who thinks so is living could be like a cuckoo land. Whatever the falling agencies in the perfect or imperfect world of global finance that we live in, the ratings are weight. Institutional investors are largely bound by the covenants that require them to exit an economy that fall below investment grade. If India is in the downgrade to junk status, foreign institutional investors will flee into droves. The stock and bond markets will take a severe beating, the rupee will depreciate hugely, and central bank will have to hand fully for the straw of the foreign exchange crisis. Work towards an upgrade. We have to put our best foot forward now to prevent the downgrade and bring about the upgrade instead. Many economists, also as the Reserve Bank of India, expect India's economy to shrink in foreign exchange from 2020 to 2021. The combined fiscal deficit of the center and states is expected to be in the region of 12% of GDP. Moody's expects India's public debt to GDP's ratio rise from 72% of GDP to 84% of GDP in 2020 to 21. The government's focus thus far has been reassuring the financial markets that the fisc will not spin out of control. It has kept the discretionary fiscal stimulus down to 1% of GDP, a figure that most modest in the relations to that of many other economies, especially developed economies. Keeping the fiscal deficit on the leash addresses the concerns of rating agencies about the rise in the public debt to GDP ratio, but it does a little to address their concerns about the GDP, clearing misapprehensions. We need to increase the discretionary fiscal stimulus without increasing public debt. The answer is monetization of deficit, that is the central bank providing funds to government. I mentioned monetization of deficit and many economic pundits will cover in terror. These fears are based on misconceptions about monetization of deficit and its effects. A common misconception is that it involves printing notes. One image that leaps to mind is printing press of central banks cranking out notes with abandon. But that is not how central bank fund the government. The central bank typically funds the government by buying treasury bills. As proponents of what called monetary modern theory point out, even that is not required. The central bank could simply credit the treasury account with itself through electronic accounting entry. When the government spends an extra funds that have the common to its account, there is an increase in base money, that is a currency plus reserve. So yes, monetization results in an expansion of money supply. What could be the objections of such an expansion in the money supply? It could be that the expansion is inflationary. This objection has a little substance in the situation when aggregate demand had fallen sharply and there is an increase in unemployment. In such situation, monetization of deficit is more likely to rise actually output closer to potential output without any great increase in inflation. Exponents of MMT make a more striking point, and they say that there is nothing particularly virtuous about the government incurring expenditure and issuing bonds to banks instead of issuing these to central bank. The expansion of the base money and hence the money supply is the same to either route. Central banks worldwide have resorted to massive purchases of government bonds in the secondary market in recent years, with the RBI joining the party of late. These are carried out under the operation of market operations (OMO). The impact of the money supply is same whether the central bank acquires the government bonds in the secondary market or directly from the treasury. About the inflation control, OMO is said to be the lesser evil than the direct monetization because the former is temporary expansion in central bank balance sheet, whereas the latter is permanent. But we know that even a so-called temporary expansion can last for long periods with identical effects on inflation. What matters therefore is not whether the central bank balance sheet expansion is temporary or permanent, but how it impacts inflation. As long as the inflation is kept under control, it is hard to argue against monetization of the deficit in the situation such as the one we are confronted with. We now have a way to constrain imposed by sovereign ratings. The government must confine itself to additional borrowing of 4.2 trillion which has announced. Further, discretionary fiscal stimulus must happen through monetization of deficit That way, the debt of the GDP ratio can be kept under control while addressing concerns about the growth. This particular article is regarding the effect and afraid of monetization of deficit. In the next article, regarding the crucial role of decentralization responses. Strategies in tackling the COVID-19 crisis must include a local government being equipped and fiscally employed. The novel virus had brought home the critical role of local governments and decentralized responses. In terms of information monitoring and immediate action, local governments are an advantage and eminently to meet an disaster such as COVID-19, while imposing restrictive conditions on the states availing themselves for the enhanced borrowing limit, that is 3.5% to 5% of gross domestic product for 2020 to 21, is unwarranted. The reorganization that the local government should be fiscally empowered immediately is valid signal for further the local governance. The article makes some suggestions could improve the local finances and argues the extent fiscal illusion is a greater deterrent to mobilization. COVID-19 has raised home four major challenges: economic, health, welfare, livelihood, and resource mobilization. These challenges have been addressed by all the tides of government in federal polity jointly and severally. Own revenues is a critical lever of local government empowerment. Of the course of several of the that continue to be a bed evil, local government has simultaneously addressed. One of the new normal demands is a paradigm shift in the delivery of health care as a cutting edge level. Two, the parallel body that have come up for the 73rd or 74th constitutional amendment have considerably distorted the functions fund or flow metric at the lower level of governance. The third factor is that there is yet no clarity in assignment of functions of financial responsibilities to the local governments. Functional mapping and responsibilities continue to be ambiguous in many states. Instructively, Kerala attempted even responsibility mapping besides activity mapping. 4. The crucial role of local governments will have to reorganized by all. Local finance. Property tax collection with appropriate exemption should be the compulsory level and preferably must cover land. The Economic Survey 2017-18 points out that the urban local government generate about 44% of revenue from their own sources as against the 5% of rural local governments, that is RLGs. Per capita own revenue collected by urban local governments is about 3% of urban per capita income, while the corresponding figure is about 0.1% of RLG. When they are not taxed, people remain indifferent. Local governments, states and people seem to labor under the fiscal illusion. In states such as Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and Jharkhand, local tax collection at a panchayat level is next to nil. Property tax forms the major source of local revenue throughout the world. All the states should take steps to enhance and rationalize the property tax regime. Land monetization and betterment levy may be tried in the context of COVID-19 in India. To be ensured, land values have to be unbundled for society relevant. Municipalities and even suburban panchayats can issue corona containment bond for a period of about 10 years on a coupon for basis of low market rate but significantly above the reverse repo rate at different banks to attract it. The appealing of the patriotic sentiments of non-resident India and rich citizen, needlessly to say credit rating, is not being weighing consideration. The suspension of MPLADs by the Union government for 2 years is a welcome measure. The annual budget was around 4,000 crores. The Union government has appropriated the entire allocation along the huge non-lapsable arrangements. A special COVID-19 contained a grant of LGs for FFC to be distributed on the basis of SFC-led criteria is need of the hour. The Commission may be doing well to consider this. The local government grant 90,000 crore for the year 2020 to 2021 by the FFCs is only 3% higher than recommended by the 14th Finance Commission. For panchayats, there is only an increase of 63% crore. The commissions claim that the grant works of 4.31% of a divisible pool that is higher than 3.54% of financial crisis. Flood, drought and earthquakes are taken care by the Disaster Management Act 2005, which does not recognize epidemics, although several parts of India experienced several bouts of various flus in the past. The new epidemic is a public health challenge of unprecedented nature along with the livelihood and welfare challenges. The first report speaks of mitigation funds and even preparedness of disaster risk index to map out vulnerable areas. These are the abundant of present context. The 2005 Act may have been modified to accommodate emergency situation. COVID-19 has woken us up the reality that the local governments must be equipped and empowered. Relevant action is critically needed. This particular article is regarding the critical role of decentralized responses, how the strategies in tackling the COVID-19 crisis must include the local governments being equipped and fiscally empowered. That's the end of article discussion. If you are new to my channel, please do subscribe. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day.